I have better things to do than be pressed about Klownye and his WLM shirts, and so do you. But evidently, I don't have better things to do than explaining why that is in a YouTube video, so let's go. Low key, I was gonna pop on Instagram Live or something to say that we all have better things to do on the day of, which was Monday, or even on Tuesday, which is now yesterday at the time that I'm filming this. But I'm glad I waited because yesterday brought us Yaten Bigsby's response to the backlash, which I will get to in a minute. Spoiler alert, it confirms everything I'm about to say about why none of us should ever waste our anger on this male. He isn't worth that. Guten Morgen, fam. It's your girl T, aka Nappy-Headed Jojoba. Not nappy, not jojoba, nappy-headed jojoba. You have to say the whole thing. It's like my beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy. This Klownye was the only thing on my feed yesterday and the day before. Just repost after repost after repost with outrage captions and text overlays laid over him posing with Candy Hoens wearing them WLM shirts. That's right, that lady who recently called his baby mama a hooker and his ex-mother-in-law a pimp. Although sidebar, I know it's Hoens, but broken clocks, y'all. At this point, I am programmed to just scroll past his coonery. Coonin is as Coonin does, you feel me? But attempting to scroll past just yielded still more of the same f***ery in the scroll. So he's already gotten what he wanted, fam, which is attention. I had thoughts, of course, but my main thought was that I wasn't thinking about Kanye behind this. Choose life. So this quick sip is less about Klownye and this latest whatever. I really want to talk about the talk surrounding this latest whatever. Convoluted, I know, just go with me. I am perplexed by all of the folks who are flabbergasted, so surprised, ZOMG, they can't believe it. Shocking? Is it? Shout out to Kempire, by the way. That's his thumbnail that I borrowed to illustrate this point. I will link his channel below in the D box because if you like short, hot topic content like these quick sips, you will love his channel. Let me tell y'all why I'm not mad about this nonsense. I'm not angry about this because that is A of all, a waste of my energy, and two of all, an insult to my intelligence. Van Lathan, remember him? He used to be on TMZ and he was, in fact, there on that fateful day when Klownye said, and I quote, "When you hear about slavery for 400 years, for 400 years, that sounds like a choice." And scene. Remember how smart he thought he sounded? Glint in his eye like he just dropped some kind of knowledge bomb? This is what you get when critical race theory is not taught. Jesu Christi. Anyway, Van Lathan was the one to clear this dizzy bitch summarily. And apparently he has a podcast now, and I'll caveat that I have not listened to the whole thing. I just follow him on IG. I don't do podcasts, unless it's one hosted by drag queens. On topic, Van Lathan surmises that there are two possibilities. That Klownye is either stupid or evil. To paraphrase, Lathan said Klownye's stupid if he sincerely doesn't realize what he's doing. Evil if he does realize what he's doing and he's actually this cynical and intentional in antagonizing black people. If I have to choose, I say it's evil, and it clearly has been for some time because this is pathological and intentional behavior exacerbated by obvious mental illness. Two things can be true. You can be mentally ill and a gaping asshole. But we also know that three things can be true, and Uncle Tomye is also too as well a dumbass. This hoe thought it was a flex when he announced that she hasn't read any book. Like, woo-woo, girl. We could tell. Think of it, when Boosie, a male who looks like he passed away months ago and is mostly famous for being so obsessively homophobic that it screams closet case. When Boosie is the one making sense, we are doomed. Now, in some circles, much has been made of Jaden Smith leaving the show where Klownye and them were wearing these shirts. I do not know why this is garnering such praise. I believe it was Shania Twain who said, and forgive me if I'm misquoting, "I am not impressed." Why was you at the event supporting him in the first place, JJ? Them shirts, this is not new behavior. Perhaps an escalation of sorts, but by no means unprecedented. I'm saying, Jaden, you drawing the line a little too late for me, babe. You were still there at his event, which was well after he'd done this and this. Oh, but now this too much. Aight. And by the way, yet again, Jaden Smith's loony ass being at least on the verge of making sense right alongside Boosie, Earth is ghetto. Remember, Uncle Tomye said herself that she does not read books, so I think the idea of there being any intended nuance, as some have speculated, some kind of layered thoughtful commentary on BLM, whether as an org or the movement for Black liberation itself, I think that's dubious. Still, once the heat was on, he posted yesterday about BLM being a scam. Big agree. I have said the same several times, even though there are imbeciles who, to this day, will insist that I'm being paid by BLM. Anyway, if this was his way of denouncing the sham organization that is BLM, then he's proving the Van Lathan hypothesis that perhaps he's just a dumbass. A shirt with a white supremacist slogan is not the way to assert what we already been knew about the BLM org. You're welcome. Nah, for real. What on God's green earth does the BLM organization being a sham have to do with promoting a racist rallying cry? Clearly, to this dipshit, 2 + 2 is 5. If he wanted to be provocative in service of Black uplift, there are a billion better ways he could have used his platform and reach than this. Anyone who is engaged in meaningful struggle knows this, and more importantly, practices this. It is a waste of precious energy to try to fix a broken man. What I'm saying is, everyone who's been paying attention the past decade or so ain't thinking about Klownye or these shirts. There are better and more important things to do for us to get free, and kvetching over his unhealable anti-Blackness in shirt form is nowhere on the list. The only Black person this male has ever cared about elevating is himself. Klownye West does not care about Black people.
Klownye West doesn't care about Black people. Please call. In the past few days.
Poor Chris. He don't care. He has told us this repeatedly. The fact that he is Black is, at this point, equal parts technicality and tragedy. In addition to trying to double down on his internalized white supremacy somehow serving as a condemnation of the BLM org, he also found time to attack a Black woman because he always has time for that. He started going after Vogue's editor, Gabriella Carifa Johnson, after she rightfully dragged that ass. Since BLM is obviously a recurring element in this whole conversation, I keep thinking back to, in my doing a couple videos referencing BLM over the years, how clear it became that so many people are incapable of understanding that supporting a movement for Black life and liberation that doesn't functionally have anything to do with supporting BLM the org. Engaging in struggle for Black life and engaging with BLM Inc. or whatever are not the same thing. Indeed, they are potentially opposites. However, I gain nothing from antagonizing the rallying cry for Black life, even if I think it is a feeble one, and even if it is, unfortunately, a rallying cry forever cleaved to a shady, disgraced organization. But only morons can't separate discrediting the organization from a valid, urgent, imperative movement. Moreover, I sure as don't think the answer to dealing with this complicated problem is a White Lives Matter t-shirt. That does not build our power, that does not help us get free. That's like trying to paint with a hammer. I also gain nothing from attacking another Black woman, which is why it was extra interesting for me when I thought it better to give one of the former BLM leaders the benefit of the doubt during a recent scandal, until I could no longer do so. And I learned with the quickness that most people are keen to attack a Black woman for not attacking another Black woman. So Klownye will always seize such an opportunity so that he can goad his fans into piling on and attacking a magazine editor for clearing him, instead of actually dealing with what he did. He knows as well as I do that people need little to no reason when the target of their ire can be a Black woman. This is how Klownye moves, this is the type of male he is, and we know this. Only after Vogue took entirely too long, in my opinion, to stand behind their editor did Klownye start the humana and backpedal into this truly bizarre limp dick apology talking about that almost certainly didn't happen. Baz Luhrmann filmed y'all having dinner. Sure, Jan. If he did actually apologize to this woman, it is only because his position was threatened. When Gigi Hadid actually checked this hoe, he probably realized he was in some legitimate hot water. When Anna Wintour says jump, you know his ass is saying how high. If Vogue was really serious, they would ban his ass full stop, but we already know they're not serious. This incident will not end him because plenty of dipshits have already been supporting him this far, despite this, and this, and of course this, right Jaden? Legit, a week and a half ago at work, I somehow found myself in discussion with Klownye defenders. I'm saying I was surrounded, outnumbered by 10 or so people talking about,
I know he's problematic, but T-Lop still slaps though. Kiki.
I was just sitting there like, deadass, I ain't gonna do this with y'all. I ain't been able to f with Klownye's music since I don't even know how many albums ago. I'm not even curious. I was out after Twisted Fantasy. I guess it turns out you don't have to say the whole thing. Anyway, that was my last rodeo, or better said, circus, because he is a f***ing clown. There is a limit to separating the art from the artist, and I hit my limit sometime around 2012. Deadass, a decade ago. I don't miss old Kanye. I'm done, and I've been done. Truthfully, I checked out at first because it seemed like obvious mental illness, unchecked and exploited even. It was just too hard to watch. And as we now know and covered at the top, he's also an insufferable asshole who doesn't deserve grace at this point. There's entirely too much dope music out there to continue to deal with this male. What I've seen of his so-called fashions are tragic, and he's shown his ass really a lot of times. We know he's a garbage person, so let's just put him in the bin where he belongs. But y'all won't. I would love to say that this is the last time I will even speak on this male, but I am sure in 6 months to a year, I'll be pleading my case yet again to ignore him when he does something even worse than this. Ignore celebrities, fam. Please, I beg. That is it for this quick sip. Thanks for hanging out with me all the way to the end. If you've been done with Klownye like I have for a minute, leave a comment letting me know what the turning point was for you. Even better, tell the class what you've been listening to or wearing lately instead of dealing with that male. Fam, we got options. For me, myself personally, I've been enjoying the Black Thought and Danger Mouse collab cheat codes. I didn't expect to ever get to hear new verses from MF Doom again, but he's got a feature on there, not to mention other greats like Raekwon and Joey Badass. Until the next video, stay safe, stay dangerous, and never trust anyone who thinks antagonizing black people with a white supremacist rallying cry is the same thing as actually fighting for our freedom. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm gonna tell you that now.